I swear to God, this is the last video. All right, the last thing that I'm going to talk about so you can get started. Hopefully you guys actually watch these videos and you get some mild entertainment of my quirky brain. All right, so you understand the roadmap, you understand that you have to read one text for every unit from each category, and you understand we got some writing resources in there, and like in the grand scheme of things, those are happening behind the scenes, but like the more you know, right? The next is each unit has like a theme rather than it just being like short stories and poetry and yada yada. I'm spreading the wealth. So for example, unit 1 is going to be on masks and identity. So all the topics, everything we learn about is going to revolve around that. Unit 2 is on power, leadership, and responsibility. And then you'll see that we have these like central ideas and guiding questions to get us through it. Yep. That's what your final project for each unit is going to be about. And that might help you with choosing your text, and when the course is done being built, because still putting that together, I'll even have like recommendations for different texts in here. Unit 3 is justice and moral courage. Unit 4 is about truth and perception. Unit 5 is about technology, progress, and consequences. And then our last one is kind of like a dichotomy, like freedom versus constraint. All right, so we're gonna go back to unit 1, and I'm just gonna show you what I mean by having a little bit of everything in a unit. So if we click on identities and masks, up at the very top, I heard that students like to have like a checklist. I'm gonna have a checklist in here of like all the things you gotta do, including like your text choice, just to make sure that you guys remember, as well as let me know. So if you send me an email and you're like, I'm having a hard time with my text for this unit, my response is gonna be like, what's your text for the unit? Let me know. So we have some lessons on character identity, and then reviewing like effective paragraph writing, looking at formal versus informal language. We're looking at internal identity versus external identity. We're gonna be doing like a medium comparison, a symbolism hunt, and then we got our feedback loop. Now, if you were to go into each one of these activities, they will let you know which essential learning outcome is going to be used. I'll even have like the rubric in there, and it'll show you how you're going to be graded. So there's going to be one from every category. Of the 6 categories that are in there, each one of these will cover one of those categories. For example, feedback loop is going to be your 6th essential learning outcome, where you're going to pick one of the activities that you did, and then you're going to provide me some feedback, like a reflection on like what you did. And like it could be revolve around your mark, like how to make it better. It could be revolving around a piece of feedback. Maybe I give you a piece of feedback about like comma splices, and you'd be like, dude, I didn't even know what that was. And then once you showed me, like it was revolutionary. I'm always looking for like earth-shattering English stuff like that. Next to each of the assignments, you'll see these little letters, and they let you know what core elements of English that you're working on. So for example, anything that's PW is like persuasive writing, making sure that we truly understand persuasive writing rather than having a persuasive writing unit. Anything that's a VR is a visual response. So we're looking at visual responses in that realm as well. LE is literary exploration, and that could be a movie, it could be like YouTube video. It doesn't have to always be from a novel. Literary exploration is looking at texts and how we explore them, as well as what we learn from them, as well as what we learn about human nature from them. And then we have AR, which is for analytical reading, like moving past surface value when it comes to an analysis. So we have those 4 categories. So we have a lot of overlapping that takes place in 20-2 English. And that probably sounds like a lot, and I didn't mean to overwhelm you, but I just wanted to let you know that it's a choose your own adventure. Everything is numbered out, and you're going to have more than one opportunity to like really smash out certain outcomes so that you are really ready for grade 12 30-2. In the grand scheme of things, like I play a ton of sports, you don't get good by doing it once. That's not how a skill is built. We try it multiple times, and that's kind of how I'm building English 20-2. So the adventure begins.